Hello there, I'm Scouter Steve, and I would like to welcome you to a new series that I'm planning on doing called My Scouting Collection. I've been an adult leader in central Minnesota for over 40 years. During that time, I have built a fairly decent collection of scouting related books, patches, memorabilia. During this series, I would like to share with you what I have collected over those past 40 years. This is the first episode, and during this episode I will go over the committee handbooks I have collected and the Scoutmaster handbooks I have collected. I served as the Scoutmaster of Troop 68 in central Minnesota for over 30 years. I collected a lot of handbooks, not only Scout handbooks, but adult leader handbooks. Let's see what I have gathered for both committee members and Scoutmasters over those years. I'm going to start with the newer books and then work my way back in time. You ready to join me? Let's go. First of all here, we have got the Troop Committee handbooks. This one happens to be from 1990. Well, it's the 1990 version, but it's the 1996 printing. So, as you can see, very nice cover. We've got full color photographs, very minimal on the back. And it's just a nice little book that goes through the basics of scouting in the first couple of chapters, but then kind of gets more and more into the various scout positions, so forth and so on. And I just realized by opening it to this page, we've actually got some names in here of the former members of this troop. Looks like Cold Spring, Minnesota is the troop that used this book at one time. By the way, I've collected these books from all kinds of different places. Some I bought online, some I bought at auctions, some I've bought in used bookstores, some were given to me. So quite a variety of places that I get these from. This is the 1996 version of the 1990 committee handbook. Next, we've got the 1987 version of the committee handbook, and this is the first printing, so 1987 edition with the 1987 printing. Little different, as you can see, it's actually a little bit thicker, probably. Yeah, I would say, yeah, it's actually about half again as many pages. This book originally was $2.25, so not too bad. A little cheaper than what you'd buy them now for. I do like the hardcover books better because you've got the name on the edge and you can actually, when you've got it on a shelf, you can actually see what you've got. These wire-bound books, I'm not a big fan of those, and I've seen the pages come out of those just as easy as I have these hardbound books. What do you think? Do you prefer the wire books to the hardbound or the hardbound to the wire books? Leave a comment below and let me know. But anyway, this one, not much for color photographs. It's pretty much all black and white. Does have a chapter on the different positions. Talks about advancement of the program, finances and resources. So pretty good guidebook. Not too bad. This is not the only version I have. Actually, it is. Both of my editions are 1987 with the 1987 printing. So I've got two first copies. Moving on, we're going back to 1979. This is the 1979 printing of the 1972 edition. You can tell this is pretty much what all the different type of handbooks looked at that time, with the dark green and light green colors. Didn't matter what committee kind of book you had or what adult leader book you had, a lot of them were this design, which to me didn't bother me at all. I began being adult leader in the troop back in 1980. So this happened to be my very first committee handbook. Even got my name inside the cover. There again, pretty much all black and white, a few drawings here and there. Nothing too elaborate, as you can see, some of the drawings. And that's kind of the charm on some of these older books, is the drawings. pretty much covers a lot of the same thing, but written in a different format. I believe these books had different writers at the time. I'm not going to go through and read the whole thing for you, but yeah, this is the 1979 edition of the 1972 book. I also have the 1980 edition and the 1972 edition. So, 3 different printings of basically the same handbook. And I like picking these up with the different printings because there's usually little changes from one to the other. Moving on, the committee books I've got next are much thinner. This is the 1961 printing of the 1956, the Active Troop Committee, you could almost say pamphlet. Not very thick, but it still goes over the various positions, where to camp, how to conduct committee meetings, so forth and so on. So it still covers quite a bit, just not quite as in much detail as later books did. One thing I really liked about this one that I just recently discovered, because I really never looked at the back covers very much, but on this one, they had a place to put information on your troop committee. And what surprised me with this one, this is from my old troop, but way back from the 1950s. In fact, it does say troop number 68, chartered by the Lions Club, meets at City Hall. It is rather interesting what it has with old phone numbers and everything. I don't even know if those phone numbers exist anymore, but it's kind of neat. This one was, the institutional representative was V.J. Mesrich, which brings me up to the next thing, because the next little pamphlet I have is the 1958 printing of the 1956. So you can see both of them are 1956 versions, different covers. The backs were pretty much the same, but both of them came from the same gentleman. Victor Mesrich actually had both of these handbooks. Inside, you can see little different ink printing. One's a little browner, one's a little blacker. I think they actually, if you look at the index, it looks like they pretty much cover the same things. So just a little different way of printing it, a little different way of looking, but I'm glad I've got both of these copies, and I'm glad they were both owned by a member of Troop 68's leadership back then. Now, we've got the committee books that I have out of the way. Now we're going to go to the Scoutmaster handbooks. And you're going to notice I don't have the more current handbooks as part of this collection because, like I said, I just don't care for those wire books. I prefer the hardbound books. And unless the BSA changes their mind and maybe comes out with both, like they used to, I don't know, my collecting days may have stopped with that. But the first one we're going to go through is the 1990 version of the Scoutmaster Handbook. I do kind of like this cover. We've got a full color cover, Scoutmaster helping the scouts up to the plateau. On the back, we've got the scout leader fishing. We've got, looks like an Eagle Court of Honor going on. Kind of a neat little book. There's a little bit of a sticker here yet that says $6.50 for this one. This one happens to be the first printing of this version of the book. Inside, we even have a parent's guide, just like you find in the Scouts handbooks. And inside of it, we do have color pictures. We do have some hand drawings in here. But yeah, it's got a lot of good information in here. I did like this handbook when I was Scoutmaster. Like I said, this was the last handbook I had when I was Scoutmaster. Well, I can't say this one is the last book because I also have 2 more, and I have the 1993 printing of the handbook. You can see this one's in a little better shape than this one because this one I didn't use quite as much as this one. And for some reason, I have a third one too. It's the same printing as one of the other 2 here. So anyway, that is the 1990 version of the Scoutmaster Handbook. Moving on, I have a 1989 Scoutmaster Supplement book all by itself. And I tell the truth, I'm not quite sure. It must have been for the previous one, which we're going to get to right now. This is the 1981 7th edition, first printing, Scoutmaster Handbook. This was my first Scoutmaster Handbook when I became Scoutmaster. As you can see, it's very well used, but as you can see too, I do try to keep the book in very good condition. It's showing a little wear and tear here and there. Pages aren't too bad. I do like the index on the back, makes for quick reference trying to find things. But this was the first printing of the 1981. I also have the 7th or the 8th printing of the 7th edition here. This one is in much better shape because I didn't beat this one up as much. Now, if you remember the other book, the other Scoutmaster Handbook I got for $6.50, well, the Scoutmaster Handbook here was only $4.75. I kind of like it that I leave the stickers on once in a while so I know what I paid for some of these. So, I don't think you'd ever get one of our current handbooks for that little bit of money. But anyway, there we have it. That is the 1981 7th edition. Next, we are going back to 1972, the 6th edition, and here is the first printing of that Scoutmaster Handbook. This is also one of my favorites. Not any color photos in this one. This one happens to be pretty much all drawings. No real photos in it at that time period. But there again, like I said, I do like the drawings. They add a nice touch to it. This one does have the requirements for the skill awards in it. Those of you from the 70s will remember skill awards, even into the 80s, because during the first several years, or the first few years of the 80s, we still had skill awards that we could use. Skill awards were little belt loops that you'd earn for different things that you do, kind of like what the Cub Scouts do now, but these were for the tenderfoot, second class, and first class ranks at that time. So not only do I have the 1972 6th edition first printing, but I also have the 9th printing. So you can see pretty much still looks the same. Ink, maybe the colors changed just a little bit. Backs look about the same. One thing I did notice when I was looking through these before is there is a little note in here that says these were made out of recycled paper. So even back in the 1970s, the BSA was thinking forward as far as conservation goes. Okay, moving on, we're going to get a little older now. The next one I have here is a 1970 Scoutmaster 1970. Okay, yeah, 1970. It's the 5th edition. This is the 11th printing. I did just get another one of these on eBay lately, and that is going to be 5th edition, 10th printing. So it'll be a little bit older than what this one is. But this one only cost $1.50 when it came out. Yeah, can you imagine getting a book like this now for only $1.50? I paid $4 for it. I think I found this one in a used bookstore. But here again, this is almost like a little encyclopedia here. Again, we do have a lot of drawings. Not much for photos in here, but there are some. We do have some black and white photos along with the various drawings. We do have the insignia, where to put it on your uniform, inside the cover that many of the handbooks had at one time. Got the Scout Oath and Law on the inside, the methods of scouting. And yeah, this one I'm almost tempted to go back to read because I think this would be a fun one to go back and read. With this particular handbook, whoever had it originally did a very good job. Little bit of a break in the binding, but all the pages are really held in place, and I still have the paper clips that the gentleman who used it before me marked for whatever he was doing lately. One other thing I like with these older handbooks, especially if you pick them up in used bookstores, is sometimes you get the name and troop in them. This one, I don't see that. But it is kind of interesting to note where he has the paper clips. And this one, there's a paper clip right at the beginning of the chapter, The Troop Goes Hiking. So that is the 1970 5th edition, 11th printing. And I do like the Norman Rockwell cover on it. Let me get the sticky notes out of the way so you can really see what that looks like. Okay, we're not done yet. We're getting older. The next one is from 1956. It's the 4th edition, 10th printing. And I do have another one of these coming from earlier. Actually, two of them, I think. One is going to be from 1947. Same edition, but a little bit older. And from the looks of the picture, it looks like it's in pretty decent shape. So the original price of this handbook was $1. So back in 1956, you could get a copy of the Scoutmaster Handbook for $1. I paid $5 for this. So yeah, I kind of like it. It's a soft cover, just like the other books. This one feels a little different than the previous books. This one, I think, is used a little bit more too, because the cover's a little softened, a little more than usual. But here again, they do have full black and white photos within it, and they do have black and white drawings. This chapter happens to be setting up the patrol method, so you can learn how to set up your troop properly. As far as the cover goes, fairly simple, not too bad. Got some tents in the background on the back cover, and it looks like we got a campfire on the front cover. But yeah, kind of a nice little find. But it's not my pride and joy of the Scoutmaster book or Scoutmaster Handbook collection. I have something I was really proud to get a hold of, but at first when I had the opportunity to buy it, I didn't know if I wanted to spend that much money, because this was back in the early 80s when one of my committee members was at a flea market and he came across a hard copy 2-volume set of the Scoutmaster Handbook. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but yeah, 2-volume set for a Scoutmaster Handbook. Look at how much information is in there compared to the next one. Just amazing. This is the 1941 3rd edition, 7th printing. It's actually the 1938 copyright of it. I paid $20 for the 2-book set. And as I was doing research for this, I was looking inside the covers. These aren't even from the same edition. Well, they're from the same edition. They're both 3rd edition. But this is the 7th printing. This one's the 6th printing. So not quite sure how that worked out, but yeah. But I like that they're hardcover. And the splines are really in good shape. These books don't look like they are 60 years old. Not at all. And that's why I'm really pleased that I was able to get these books. Here again, you can see we do have some photos within the cover. Even got a little deal here for troop committee members on troop committee meetings. But yeah, it's very nice done. I like the pages. They're a little waxy, so it's kind of an upper end type thing. But yeah, this is my pride and joy of my Scoutmaster Handbook collection, the 2-volume hardbound set of the Scoutmaster Handbook from the 3rd edition, which is 1938 edition. Almost done. The only thing I've got left now is the Scoutmaster Minute booklets. To tell the truth, I haven't even looked for these, if they even make something like this anymore. I think I did see something in the Scout shop a while back that was something like this. This happens to be from 1956. It was only 40 cents. You could get this pamphlet of Scoutmaster Minutes for only 40 cents. I also have the 1957 edition and the 1958 revision. Now, I did do a little checking. If we look inside the on the index, you will notice that the later editions actually have more Scoutmaster Minutes in them. This one only has 1 column. Here we got 2 columns. And go to the next page, you will see that some of the Scoutmaster Minutes are the same in both, but the newer one has more Scoutmaster Minutes in it. So kind of neat. I did notice these two, the 1958 and 1957, I think were pretty much the same. But I thought that between 56 and 57 that they must have almost doubled the amount of Scoutmaster Minutes in them. I thought that was kind of a neat little touch. Get more people to buy them, you know. So there we have it. These are my adult leader handbooks, whether you were a committee member or Scoutmaster. I hope you've enjoyed this look at my collection here. Granted, I don't have them all, but I do have I think a fair amount of them. And I'm still keeping a little eye out now and then when I can get a reasonably priced one. I don't believe in the price gouging that I sometimes see going on online. But anyway, do you collect Scoutmaster handbooks or committee books? How many do you have in your collection? Leave a comment below and let me know what your collection is all about. And or maybe, which of these books did you like best? Which one would you like to have as part of your collection? Also, I invite you to like this video if you've enjoyed it. And maybe hit that subscribe button to the Melrose Scouting Productions channel, because that way you'll be informed if I do come out with more videos, which I hope to do, maybe on a weekly or or every other week basis. I have a lot more stuff to show, so just wanted to start off with something simple. So thank you for joining me, and happy scouting!